What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to a recent news report about an American politician that is leaving the United States and moving to Canada. Wow! And if that isn't a statement, I don't know what is, because I've actually never heard of an American politician moving out of the country. What does that even mean? Especially if they're in American politics, does she have to quit her job? I mean, but apparently that is exactly what Representative Mary Cortez is doing. So I want to hear more about this. So let's take a look.
Fallout from Trump policies. A Vermont lawmaker is resigning and relocating to Nova Scotia. She says there are a number of reasons for her decision.
Whoa. So this is the representative from Vermont. I gotta be honest, in the United States, we got a lot of states, we got a lot of representatives. I've never heard of this person before, but I'm actually a little surprised that I didn't hear about this story sooner. This seems like it'd be pretty big news, but now here in the United States, I don't know. I didn't hear about this until now. I think this is 2 weeks old. But it's here in America, you hear about people, Americans, who will get upset about the way things are going or who is in control of the government, or especially after American elections. And a lot of Americans will say, I'm moving to Canada. Forget this place. And, we're like, okay, well, yeah, put your money where your mouth is and do it. If you genuinely don't want to be here, then it's your right, and if you feel that strongly, you should go. But I think a lot of Americans don't really follow through on that. Moving your entire life is kind of a big deal. But this literal American politician, representative from Vermont, is doing it. She's putting her money where her mouth is. I feel like it's unusual for Americans voice a lot of displeasure and stuff, but to actually leave your entire home and move to a different country. She's going to Nova Scotia. That's very significant.
Resigning and relocating to Nova Scotia. She says there are a number of reasons for her decision, including her personal safety as a member of the LGBTQ community.
Oh, I see. So she is resigning. She has to quit her job. It's not easy to break in and win an election and become a representative in any country. To feel so strongly to give that up. She certainly is standing by her principles, that's for sure.
Representative Mary Cortez is with us from Vermont. So, Ms. Cortez, why are you making this move?
I am moving so that I can continue to have full-time work, the kind of work that I love.
What? I don't understand. Was she not full-time employed as a U.S. representative of Vermont? Or anyway, maybe she'll explain more.
And that is cardiology, intensive care, nursing. I am also moving because our...
Sorry, I don't mean to pause it so much. I'm just trying to understand her situation. She's a nurse, or she wants to be a nurse. Sounds like she is a nurse. Cardiology, intensive repair, something. That's incredible. Good for her, by the way. Very admirable profession. That's fantastic. Much better than being some politician. But politicians and representatives are important as well for stuff. But being like a cardiologist nurse, that's amazing. I don't understand how she is both a nurse and a U.S. representative, but my God, what a couple of accomplishments.
I am also moving because well, part of the reason I'm looking for full-time work is our healthcare system in the state of Vermont is in the process of potentially collapsing. Many nurses are losing hours. Hospitals are lowering their average daily census in order to lower cost.
Interesting. I actually am really interested to hear about this. As an American, this affects me, of course. I am well aware of a lot of the problems with our American healthcare system and our healthcare insurance and the way that we do things here as far as coverage and care. She's talking about something different. She's talking about literally the infrastructure of how hospitals work and the people who work at hospitals and the staffing. And she's saying there's problems with that. This is kind of insider knowledge. I don't even know about these problems.
And if the federal bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, passes,
It did pass. By the way, this is 2 weeks old. That bill did pass. Like, yes, it happened.
and Medicaid rates are significantly cut, that will devastate hospitals and clinics across the country and including in Vermont. So my prospects as someone who loves to work and I love my job and my career, my prospects are not looking good.
I see.
And I'm also very horrified by what is happening in my country, what the government is doing. And I myself have experienced personal attacks and death threats as a
Wow.
state representative.
Jeez. It's so horrible. Um, but in particular, when you're a politician, you definitely kind of put yourself out there for those types of targeting and attacks. Not to say that that's any excuse. In a perfect world, that would never happen. But we are far from a perfect world. Um, and the other thing she's saying a variety of reasons, really. The first one is her job. She just thinks the way things are going and the policies that are being passed in America are going to make it difficult for her to like find gainful employment as a specialist nurse. So maybe she's already found something like in Nova Scotia, like a job opening or something. I'd like to know why she chose that in particular. Maybe it's for a job. Um, General disapproval with Donald Trump is also what she's saying. That's the sentiment of a lot of Americans right now. There's certainly things Donald Trump has done that I disagree with, but not to the extent that I am about to, lift up my entire life and move to another country. But if that's where she's at personally, and that's I can't help but just kind of respect it. A lot of Americans just kind of talk and say like, "Oh, I hate it here. I can't live here one more second. If Donald Trump wins, I'm moving." And a lot of times it's just talk, but she's actually doing it. So I kind of just have to respect that decision. And what was the last thing she was talking about?
Attacks and death threats.
Death threats. Yes, I kind of touched on that already. Like, that's disgusting, for one thing. And yeah, obviously, if you're getting literal death threats, that's also a pretty big motivator to be like, I don't know if I want to live here anymore. Like, I get that.
As a state representative and as a public person, I just want to be somewhere where I can do what I love, which is working with other people to try to make things better, and to be able to be who I am, a queer woman, and someone who loves to work and loves the outdoors. And
Yeah, and also sort of a political thing, sort of not. She's just voicing, like, in general, being a queer person with Donald Trump being elected. I think that's what she's getting at. saying there's just a general discomfort that she's feeling, and I think a lot of people in her who can relate to that as well.
And Nova Scotia has all of that. And Nova Scotia, I'm so grateful they have opened their door and helped me through the immigration process, the licensing process.
Well, I was going to ask about that. I was wondering about that. How is she just able to move to Canada and start working? I thought it was difficult to immigrate to like a whole new country. Like, how is this like a job thing? She has a very valuable job, I think, that like really contributes and it's really specialized. And so maybe Canada was like more than happy to take a hardworking, like good someone who's going to really contribute a lot. It's actually very sad the more I think about it. America could really benefit from her living in America, being American. Like large part of me just thinks, you know what? Dang it! You know, we're losing someone who's really a big contributor to the United States and our society. She's a state representative. She's a healthcare professional. She's contributing a lot, and it's sad that we're losing people like this. And Canada is very, smart to offer her whatever visa or whatever. But I'm surprised it's like it was that quick and easy for her to do this. Wow.
So that I can work as a nurse in Nova Scotia.
Wow.
And I'm very excited. I'll be heading out in about 2 weeks, and
Wow.
I'll be working in Valley Regional Hospital in Kentville.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to ask you about, or maybe have you talk about the political tension and the turmoil in the U.S. that you allude to there. We just saw the shooting
Oh yes, talk about it. Talk about the turmoil.
of the Minnesota lawmaker. How much does that part of the culture or the equation enter into your decision?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, uh, Minnesota, was it a representative or let's say politician? I think it was Minnesota. Two politicians were shot, as well as their spouses, in their homes. You should look this up if you haven't seen the pictures of the guy. He wore like a what's it called? A mask from like Halloween, like Michael Myers. Not Mike Myers. Not Mike Myers like Austin Powers. Not that. Not the actor. Michael Myers mask. Big scary pale mask, and went to these politicians' front doors to their homes and shot them and their wife. And then he went down the street and did it again, but the second couple survived. Anyway, just bananas, crazy story, crazy stuff happening.
It certainly underscores that I'm making the right decision. The amount of hate and vitriol has increased so much in the last 10 years, especially since the first Trump administration. And I would also say COVID, I think,
True.
created a lot of trauma for a lot of people. And
True.
I think maybe lashing out it may be part of that trauma. And then we've become such a virtual society, and it's so much easier to not see the humanity in other people when you're communicating through a screen.
That's true. Some pretty good insights she has here with the trauma. Plenty of Americans, who did not vote for Donald Trump who are upset with stuff. And I guess, yeah, we don't even think about how we're still recovering from what the pandemic did to us physically and mentally. And yeah, in America, politics has never been more divided, like as far as conservative and liberal, Republican, Democrat. Like it has never been more of a divide where, and not just ideological, but like it's more than that. People on different sides hate each other, like, and both think that each other are an existential threat to life, essentially, at this point. These are just some observations I've noticed. So yeah, it's hard to even have productive political discussions in America because both sides are just so upset with the other side for what they perceive to be, the wrong thing to do. Anyway, not to go on some political philosophical rant there.
Um,
And so,
so yeah,
are you in some
the,
ways? Sorry to interrupt there, but are you in some ways making a political statement, or at the very least, a political example by doing what you're doing here?
Right.
not intentionally. I tend to.
It's certainly a statement, whether it's on purpose or not. Like, I think she's saying she's just doing this for her, not for some statement. And if you're going to leave your country and move somewhere else, it better be for you, I think, because that is something that is going to affect, your entire life moving onwards. Um, yeah, all I have to say is I'm I understand. I get it if this is her decision, and I understand her reasons. But at the same time, I'm also, part of me is disappointed because we're losing a valuable member of our society. And it's almost like she's basically saying she's giving up on America. Like America is just beyond saving. It's no good. And, if anybody's done their part to try to like progress the discourse going on here, it's probably her. Like she's literally became the representative of Vermont, so you can't say she didn't try. I suppose.
Work for others much more than I do for myself. I think this is one of the first times I've taken such a big step towards taking care of myself.
It's a big step.
I've been very active in social issues around LGBTQ plus issues, healthcare issues,
Yeah.
immigration issues, and I think that's where I have why I have received some of the hate that I have in the United States. I've also received a lot of support, but as I said earlier, I just want to go somewhere where I can do the work that I love, be the person that I am, and be in community with other people.
So she's giving up the politics thing. I don't know what status she's going to have in Canada. I don't think she's a Canadian citizen. That takes a long time to accomplish, right? I don't know maybe she just has like a working visa or something. I don't know too much about that. But yeah, wow, what a big step.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Making the community great.
Sorry to hear about your troubles there. Quickly, just before I let you go, we've been making a lot of efforts in this province and this country to bring professionals here, medical professionals in particular. How did you find that transition?
Oh,
The Nova Scotia Health, from the recruiter to the immigration consultant, everyone has been fabulous.
wow.
They've been very helpful. Currently, All Points Relocation is helping me find a place to live, and I'll.
Okay. So now that's kind of the end of the report. They're just talking about. So there's a Canadian immigration consultants that are actively recruiting people like her that have these skills, like healthcare, medical skills that be good and contribute to Canada. And yeah, they're ready to scoop her up and bring her to Nova Scotia and give her a job. And yeah, this was a really interesting news story I wanted to take a look at because again, you hear in America, it's almost a stereotype of like screw this place. I'm going to Canada. And people are like, okay. And we kind of roll our eyes like, you're not. And this, she actually did it. She's actually doing it and went through the process and is leaving. And this is 2 weeks old. So I think she said she's leaving in 2 weeks. So she's probably gone. And she could be in Nova Scotia right now. Really interesting. And obviously, when United States representatives start quitting their jobs and moving to Canada, it's certainly a big signal to me that every American needs to stop and kind of just take a breath and look at the state of things and what's going on and assess why are we're supposed to be the greatest place on earth, right? That's what we always said. Um, Americans who have very successful lives here are giving that up to leave. So we need to take notice of that. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on this U.S. lawmaker moving to Canada, leaving the United States. Fascinating story. Be interesting to hear from a Canadian point of view. You guys poached her. You took her from us. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning about Canadian culture and seeing Canadian things I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.